So I know a lot of people have heard of it, but Portugal in 2003, I think it was, or 2001, decriminalized all drugs. And it's controversial. You can ask people on both sides, people who think they should legalize drugs, people who think they shouldn't, and they'll find something from Portugal and they'll argue about it. But um, the main things I want to point out, they also did it like in respect to like education programs and also like a minimum basic income. So it wasn't just like legalizing drugs. There's like a bunch of confounding factors that happened around the same time. But I think that if you want to decriminalize all drugs in the United States, I think that's something that could go into effect today and have positive outcomes as long as it's accompanied by like education and also like the social programs of like getting people help if they actually want it. I don't think that counting drug users as criminals helps anyone in any way. I think it's just stupid. Um, and some of the stuff from the Portugal thing was while drug usage increased by about 5%, like heroin use dropped by 46%, and way more people went to rehab, and HIV percentages dropped like drastically, which is the main thing they were trying to fight against. It wasn't really for like drug legalization. The purpose was more for HIV reduction. So, what are your thoughts?
Um, I actually saw oh, I actually sent it in the chat. I don't know if you took a look at it, but what did I send? So basically, it was a study from Addiction for Debate, I think. Um, but the title is "Would Legalizing Illicit Opioids Reduce Overdose Fatalities? Implications from a Natural Experiment." So, uh, contrary to what I thought, it actually would.
I wonder why. I feel like the big thing is like one, like no one knows how to use it safely, and two, like stigma. Like you got to hide it if you're going to use it. So it creates like a culture of like people who are using are like outlaws.
Oh, and hold on, I'm gonna share my screen just so everyone can see this. And there you go, stigma. um,
Good.
there has been a lengthy and lively debate for um
Oh,
there
also contaminants. If it's legal, then opioids are like you know what's in them.
yeah. So would it work? There's clear evidence that those in heroin assisted treatments have reduced risk of death from heroin overdose. While somewhat impractical, it is theoretically possible that if all heroin users were treated in highly supervised treatment programs, this would result in a major fall in mortality. If all doses were consumed in the supervised treatment setting with post dose observation, the likelihood of such a treatment provision is minimal. In the community setting where most drug use occurs, the extent to which any change in legal access to heroin would affect overdose rates depends upon the validity of the assumptions underpinning the argument. Drug purity and drug impurity as major causes of overdose. We will now address. Okay, yeah. So I could definitely see that like purity. Um, you often hear about like weed laced with like fentanyl or something like, but that obviously if you bought it from a company, that would never happen, I would
Yeah.
assume, or there would be very.
Also, like if you do it with all these other like social programs, and like people who get help if they're addicted, like most people try to just like are gonna quit like cold turkey, and that is a recipe for disaster. But if you go to like a facility and they like taper you down, like you're so much more likely to stay off of it and also like not get as bad side effects. So
Okay, that's interesting.
I'm sure that would help too.